Take a look at this unusual, huge boulder. At first glance, it violates the very laws of physics. But is it really so? What's the true secret of this mysterious boulder? Soon you'll find it out. This is Infinity, and in this episode, I'll tell you about this giant boulder, as well as show you interesting places and objects that violate the laws of physics. Krishna's Butterball. According to legend, the gods placed this boulder on the slope at Mamayapuram as a reminder to the people that the impossible is possible. Over the years, however, the landmark was no longer referred to as the Heavenly Stone. According to some sources, the Stone of Sky God was renamed to Krishna's Butterball by local guides. The 250-ton boulder is famous for its unusual location. It's hanging on the hillside, tilting at 45 degrees. The giant balancing stone is 6 meters high and 5 meters in diameter. The giant boulder, which is popular with tourists, has been suspended on the slope for centuries, but it never slid down the hill or even moved, even though attempts were made to push it. If historians are to be believed, the earliest attempt was made in the 12th century. At the time, the local king wanted to move the divine stone to keep it out of the hands of sculptors. According to the law, damaging the boulder was forbidden, but the idea of shaping it occurred to many people. Despite the king's good intentions, locals didn't move the boulder and the king had to abandon his plan. Another attempt was made in the early 20th century. In 1908, the governor of Madras, Arthur Lawley, intended to remove the boulder from the hill. He feared that the stone could roll away at any time and destroy the city buildings at the foot of the hill. 7 elephants were used to move the stone, but the boulder did not move an inch. It would seem that for modern scientists, the Krishna's Butterball should not represent some mystery. Today, researchers have access to dozens of different and ultra-precise methods of analysis. However, scientists still have not been able to give a coherent explanation as to why there's a large stone lying on a steep slope that cannot roll down the slope even by force. According to the most popular theory, the stability of the boulder is based on the friction force and the location of the center of gravity. Wobbly stone. It's hard to imagine, but the Krishna's Butterball from India is not alone in its uniqueness. There was a similar boulder on the other side of the world. In an Argentine town of Tandil, there was once one of Argentina's most striking landmarks, a stone that weighed about 300 tons. Why am I talking about it in the past tense? The fact is that one day gravity let it down after all. The giant boulder has long attracted tourists to the slope. People were especially impressed by the fact that the stone was swaying in the gusts of the wind, but it didn't move, as if a mystical force had chained the natural monument to the rock. When travelers came here, they couldn't believe their eyes. After spending only one night in Tandil, in the morning they immediately ran to check whether the stone had fallen down. The locals tell an interesting legend, according to which the stone appeared on the slope thousands of years ago when a deity appeared on earth. It was he who taught the people various crafts and farming. But the deity did not stay long among the people, though he left an unusual mark, a wobbly stone, which had to stand on the mountain until the very moment when the son of the sun returned. About 100 years ago, something unexpected happened. The stone fell from the rock. It's not known what caused the fall. Soil erosion or an explosion during work in a mine are considered the most realistic assumptions. Be that as it may, the people of the town were shocked by the event. People were sad about the wobbly stone for years after it fell. According to one version, a certain local resident who wanted to show off to tourists might have pushed the stone. Upside-down waterfall. The most populated island of the Hawaiian archipelago, Oahu, is known for its amazing nature. It's here that the Waipuia Falls, also known as the Upside-Down Waterfall, is located. Contrary to the laws of gravity, it flows not from top to bottom, but from bottom to top. The reason is that the water falls from the top of the mountain downwards, but then the wind, which is common in those places, picks up the water flow and raises it up to the source of the waterfall. The stronger the wind, the brighter the impression of the abnormality of the waterfall. Still convinced that the laws of physics must have a limit? If you still doubt the existence of anomalies, the following story will dissuade you. After all, it confirms that even an ordinary hairdresser can violate every conceivable law of physics. Unique plastic. Every material on Earth has its own melting and decay temperature. Or no. It seems that today's scientists have the invulnerable material. In 1986, a man named Maurice Ward managed to create something similar. Curiously enough, Ward himself had no higher education and spent most of his life working as a hairdresser. It was only in his old age that Ward decided to start a plastic recycling business and purchased an extruder, a bulky machine that was a system that developed plastic profiles and took up a lot of space in his factory. The more Ward tested his new toy, the more he lost his passion for hairdressing. However, he didn't conduct any experiments with compounds until 1985, when he saw the news about a British plane which engine caught fire, costing the lives of 55 passengers. Maurice was so shaken by the tragedy that he decided to create a substance that would withstand high temperatures without emitting toxic gases or smoke. He plunged himself into the work and eventually deduced the formula for Starlight. Ward stubbornly refused to answer questions related to how he developed Starlight, but still revealed a few secrets. The mysterious substance was based on a combination of 21 polymers and copolymers with the addition of ceramics. In this form, Starlight could easily withstand temperatures beyond even his wildest imagination without emitting toxic fumes or smoke. In addition, its strength and durability were supposedly enhanced during testing. Starlight was said to be able to withstand a nuclear flare and temperatures about 3 times the melting point of diamonds. So why aren't we using Starlight in industry or rocket science? The fact is that the wonder plastic never came on the market. Ward kept his formula secret and took it to his grave in 2011. But the fact that the former hairdresser was able to create a universal, heat-resistant substance gives hope that such an invention will become widespread one day. A mysterious road in South Korea. An unusual optical illusion was recently discovered on a road in South Korea. Curious locals come here by the hundreds to see the anomaly for themselves. Empty bottles and cans left on this road on Jeju Island will obediently slide uphill. Tourists have verified this more than once, and the country's resourceful authorities quickly made the place attractive to tourists and even put up a sign indicating where the gravity anomaly begins. Scientists are sure that the anomaly doesn't look like an anomaly here. It's all the fault of an optical illusion, which makes us believe that the landscape surrounding the road is flat. However, it's very difficult to believe this for those who have seen the road with their own eyes, especially if they've had the opportunity to sit behind the wheel of a car that was driving itself uphill. Place with no gravity. Is there a place on Earth where the usual gravity doesn't work? There is. But what does it look like? Blocks are not falling down and people are floating in the air? In fact, this is a little different. For 40 years, scientists have been trying to figure out where the force of gravity has disappeared in a large area of one region of Canada, particularly in the Hudson Bay area. Gravity in this area and nearby regions is extremely low, much lower than in other parts of the world. The phenomenon was first discovered in the 1960s when the Earth's gravitational field was fully studied. 2 theories have been proposed to explain the anomaly. According to one of them, magma flowing in the Earth's interior is constantly swirling and moving, rising and falling, creating convection currents. Convection pulls down the Earth's continental plates, which reduces the mass in that area and reduces the force of gravity. Another theory concerns the Laurentide ice sheet, which covered most of present-day Canada and the northern United States. This ice sheet was nearly 3 kilometers thick in most areas. It was very heavy and pressed on the Earth, but 10,000 years ago the ice sheet melted and finally disappeared, leaving a deep indentation in the Earth. As a result, the area around Hudson Bay has less mass because part of the Earth has been pushed aside by the ice sheet. Less mass just means less gravity. That's all, guys. What have you experienced that defies the laws of physics? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you later.